Okay, well, welcome everybody to 806-105, Principles of Animal Biology. My name is Kevin Yoakum, and I will be encouraging you and guiding you throughout this semester. Now, originally, as I stated earlier, we were going to meet in person every Friday to do some lab work. Unfortunately, that isn't going to happen because of construction issues. However, uh, I talked to the vet tech department, and there is a possibility that we can meet. There are 20 of you, and I think my roster actually has maybe 23 or four, but the lab space in the vet tech building can hold, I think, around 14, 15 students. So we can still meet a couple times. What I'll do is come up with a calendar and send out a Google form, kind of like a survey, and it'll ask you if you would like to meet to do some dissections. I have, probably about, well, I've got a brain and a heart and an eyeball, and I've got lungs, an entire digestive tract, and kidneys. At the very least, I've got all of that stuff, and they're from various animals, pigs, cows, and sheep. So I would like those of you, maybe all of you, but I want to get a gauge on how many of you would want to meet uh, one of these Fridays, probably in, maybe about 4 weeks, and then maybe another Friday as well. So I'd like to kind of gauge your um, get feedback on that because I do think that it's important that you guys have the opportunity to dissect some of these organs, especially because that's what you signed up for. So the vet tech department is willing to let us use their lab space, and I think up to maybe 15 students. So that's why if all 20 or 25 of you want to do it, I have to break you up into groups. Um, so anyway, we'll talk about that more. I'll send out a Google form, kind of a survey to get, to gauge interest. Yeah. Pardon me. All right. So that's that. We'll leave that there for now. I'll send that out this weekend, and then next Friday when we get together, we'll discuss it. I'll also send out an announcement and maybe have some more firm dates and times as when that will happen. Or maybe none of you want to do it, and that's fine too. Um, I doubt that's the case. I'm sure there are at least a handful of you that probably want to meet and dissect some goodies. So, but if not, and if you don't want to, don't feel like you're in trouble, or nobody's ever in trouble in here anyway. So you're definitely not obligated to do anything. So it's completely optional. And so I just want to put that out there. All right, you guys ready yet? All right, good. So, Bright Space, I don't know if you have experience in Bright Space. I'm sure some of you, this is all new. This may even be your first course or one of your first courses at Gateway, although it's Friday. So, it's probably, if this is your first semester, this is probably the last course of the week. So, I'm sure you're at least somewhat familiar with Bright Space. But everything you need for this course is going to be in Bright Space. All of your quizzes and exams and assignments and everything you'll be graded on is going to be in Brightspace, as well, of course, as McGraw-Hill. So, which we'll talk about. So let's start. Basically, any of your landing page is going to be here, and any of these tiles that you click are going to take you to the course content page. So you can also get, so anyway, course home is where we just came from. You can also just click content and get to the content area, which is going to contain everything that you need. I'm going to switch my view to be learner view. That way I get to see what you see because it'll hide some of my instructor tiles. So that's what just happened there, in case you're wondering. So, all right, well, let's get to it. Syllabus and instructor info. This will take you to my first name, and last name, phone number, email, office hours. That's also found in the syllabus. You can also reply to any of the announcements that you receive. Um, so I just sent out the Zoom link. So if you have a question and you're like, what was his email again? I don't want to remember. If you're already in your email, just reply to the announcement and it'll come to me that way as well. All right, so let's get to it. Here's the syllabus. Um, Again, most gateway syllabi look the same, so they'll have a similar setup. We're going to meet again in an asynchronous fashion Fridays at 11:40. And I don't know if we'll go till 1:40 every week, but that's the cap. We won't go past 1:40. Now, if we meet in Elkhorn at the Vet Tech facility, the Vet Tech lab, they're doing construction on the road over there. I don't even know how the heck you get to it at this point. There's got to be a way. So, but anyhow, maybe by the time we're meeting, they're just doing a ton of construction on the Elkhorn campus, including that's kind of side road there. But anyhow, the days or day that we do meet to do any dissections in Elkhorn, um, if you're not interested in doing that or unable to attend or to do that, uh, I'm not going to be meeting in Zoom those days, or that day. So there won't be an OSync session when we do any type of on-campus dissection. So that's probably obvious, but maybe not. So I do want to put that out there. You won't have to meet in Zoom that day. There's the link to my Zoom room is there, another one there. You can access that. Now, again, it's in an announcement as well. Let's see. My office, again, I'm not really in there. Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm on campus. So if you do need to meet with me for any reason in person, Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm on campus. Really, I'm there from about 7:30 in the morning till about 11:30. So anyway, you can email me and set up a time if we need to do it that way. And then certainly starting next week, if we need to meet, let me know and we can meet before class as well. We can even meet after class if that works better for you. If you need to hang out after class to discuss anything, I'm certainly available that way too. So I'm pretty easy to get a hold of through emails. And like I say, if we need to meet in Zoom for any reason between sessions, I can make myself available that way too. All right, so let's get into what are you going to do this semester? Well, it's really some of the basics of biology. It is animal biology, but we kind of save that for the end of the semester. So really the first probably 3/4 of the semester, we're really going to be focused on different body systems, the organs that are contained within those body systems. We'll look at the cellular level of these organs and tissues. We'll talk a little bit about the chemistry. There'll be some what we call physiology. But related to like homeostasis or animals primarily trying to maintain balance. So there'll be some human stuff. We're animals too, of course. So in fact, a lot of the different organ systems and organs and tissues and cells are similar from species to species. So we'll look at that too. So some kind of like comparative anatomy throughout. So that's really that's really the majority of the course. And like I say, at the end, we'll talk a little bit about animal behavior. We'll get into genetics a little bit, and certainly a little bit of evolution and ecology. Uh, and again, I will come up with some dates where we can do some dissections over in the vet tech uh, building. All right. So, what do you need for this course? You definitely need to get the Clinical Anatomy and Physiology for Vet Techs book. There is an ebook option, I believe, as well. I think the bookstore has physical copies, so you should be able to get that text. It's an excellent resource. And it's one you'll use even maybe past this class or beyond this class, which is always good when you're paying. I don't know, it's not too, I think it's like 75 bucks maybe at the bookstore. It's not too bad for a textbook. And then you also need to access McGraw-Hill Connect, the online access for virtual labs. That is also available in a couple different ways. Let me pull this up. So once you, and this is, I think, this is actually for, I think this is maybe the same one you guys use. This might be from my anatomy class, but yours might say this actually, A&P Digital Suite. So don't be thrown off if it does say that. I think at the bookstore, it's like 112 bucks, but I think you can get it maybe through directly from McGraw-Hill for 82. Bookstores like to upcharge. So, but I mean, I paid, I, I haven't been in college for a really long time, but when I was, I used my student loan money to buy books. I was a biology major, so books, as you guys know, they're expensive in the dark ages, just as they are expensive today. So anyway, you can also, I did notice a few of you have done this. This is a great way to go as well. You could get a free 2-week trial. And get as many labs completed as you can in that 2 weeks. I mean, who knows? Maybe you get them all completed because this course, because it is online, you can work at your own pace. So if you decide to just work at your own pace, you don't have to come every Friday to Zoom. Maybe you're really busy and you could treat this course as a fully online web course if you want. I have everything open. I have all the labs available. So you could feasibly just do this course in 8 weeks or 10 weeks and do it at your own pace. It's totally up to you. So if you do get this 2 week free access to start with, and then you eventually purchase it, you will see your work move over into, because it's your account. So you have a McGraw-Hill account. So don't think that, oh no, if I do all of this work and then I end up purchasing it because I still have some labs to do, it won't carry over. That's not true. It will carry over. Everything will stay linked. And like I say, you may find that 2 weeks that's really hustling because I think there are about 30 or so labs that you have to do. But again, every student, every one of you is different. You have different priorities and different uh, chunks of time where you're able to get work done. So you do have that option. Now, this middle option, this would probably be what you'd get from the bookstore. I think you get like a card. It's got probably maybe a scratch off inside of it with a 20-digit access code. So then you can redeem it that way. Now, the other thing about the bookstore, and again, they are a separate entity from Gateway. They're called Follett. So they do things maybe a little bit differently. So if you go to the bookstore, you might get some sort of receipt with like a code, and then you have to go to some other site called Bright Shelf or something like that, not or Bright Wave, not Bright Space. Anyway, you might end up having to do something else, and then you go in there. Just follow the directions that the bookstore gives you. They'll give you a printout as well as a receipt, as well as maybe a copy of the card that I don't know. It changes, it seems like every semester with the bookstore. So you definitely want the digital suite that's it should be like 112 bucks or something. But like I say, you can get it from here as well, directly from McGraw-Hill. And how do you get to this spot? Well, you would get there. Oops, this is a shoot. There we go. Kind of glitched out on me for a second here. I wanted to be in the syllabus part. There we go. You can access it from here, but you can also access it from Brightspace. Go back to content. In fact, once you access McGraw-Hill, it looks like there are 25 labs. So once you do access McGraw-Hill, however you get there, whether it's through the syllabus, oops, there we go. So you can highlight that and then open that up. So this is what it'll look like. I've got like a dummy account, otherwise I can't use my teacher account. So this is that what I was just showing you. So yeah, 8219 directly from McGraw-Hill. Okay. So that, back up. So again, if you don't have an account yet, so the first thing you'll do when you click on that is you'll have to open a McGraw-Hill account. It's very straightforward, just name, email address, and that might be about it. Set up a password, and that's it. And then from there, you'll log in and get to that page I just showed you. Okay. You'll get to this page once you log in or set up a username, login account. And again, temporary access, the code you got from the bookstore, or buy directly from McGraw-Hill. And they take credit card, PayPal, Visa, all that stuff. Let's see. All right, any questions on the bookstore stuff, on what card you should have? And I mean, if for some reason you purchase this from the bookstore and you get home and you get to this spot and you go through all this and it's the wrong code or it says something else, we'll figure it out. Okay, because I've heard rumors, I don't know if they're true, that the bookstore was handing out. So the physical card should look like this. It'll be the size smaller than a notebook, but still, it'll be just a one-page kind of physical cardboard thing that's going to look just like this. If it doesn't look like this, it's probably the wrong thing. It might say something else like, it might say this, virtual labs. So if you get a card, if the bookstore tries to hand off a card that's this, that's the wrong item. That's what we used a year ago. Now I did set up a space here just in case you do get this card and you do log in. That's what I mean. Let me know, and I'll have to manually enter your grades and your lab, so you can still do it. But again, the card you want is supposed to look like this. All right, but don't fret if you got this card. Right? It's okay. And that code, I can work with that, and so can you. Let's see. Let's go back to the syllabus. So anyway, that's what you need to do for the labs. You'll have, like I say, about 25 of those. On Fridays, we may do some of those together, or I may go through some of those so you can see. In fact, next Friday, so try to attain McGraw-Hill Connect by next Friday, because one of my goals and objectives for next Friday's session in Zoom is I want to kind of give you a tour of the McGraw-Hill Connect. But I don't want to do that today because only I think 3 or 4 of you have it. So between now and next Friday, try to get access to it. If you can't afford it yet, or you're waiting on student loans, or you're waiting on paycheck or whatever, that's fine. Remember, you could still get that 2-week free trial. So don't, and which you could sign up to do that like next Thursday. So you begin the trial like next Thursday or Friday morning. Just make sure that when we meet in Zoom that you have access to your McGraw-Hill labs, because one of the first things we're going to do is I'm going to basically give you a tour of how to use it. It's very user friendly, but we'll also do at least one or two labs to start with and just get those out of the way. Um, so again, I don't want to leave you with too much homework each week, but so we'll do those together next week. So that's really your only homework between now and next Friday is at the very least attaining McGraw-Hill access. But like I said earlier, this is you can work at your own pace in this course. All right, the rest of this is college policies. Now, attendance, again, we're going to be meeting in Zoom. We may have your attendance is expected, but certainly not mandatory. And even expected, that sounds a little weird. I don't expect that you attend. I just, it's nice if you do, but I understand if you can't. And remember, these are recorded. So 11:40 to 1:40 every Friday, unless we are going to meet uh, in Elkhorn for some dissections. Now you do the first assignment by the first due date. Now there's every course has kind of a instructor drop period. It's usually about 2 weeks into the course. So basically between now and I want to say like September 16th, we'll look at the date coming up, but you have to have submitted at least one thing. So otherwise it shows that you're not engaged and the system will kick you out of the course. So you have to have at least something completed within the first 2 weeks, which that's not going to be a problem because we're going to do a couple of things together next Friday. And of course, you can get other things done between now and then if you'd like. The whole course is worth 1,500 points. So this is the grading breakdown for each letter. Generally, if you get to 90%, so if you make it to 1350, I should say when most of you, if not all of you, make it to 1350. When that happens, I don't, for me, that's an A. And so I don't generally give A minuses. If you make it to 90%, or when you do, to me, that's a solid A. And the same holds true with B minus. Generally speaking, if you make it to 80% and you don't get any higher than that, that's where you ended up stopping around 1,200 points. I would probably give you a solid B. Now I do give B pluses. So basically I give A's, B pluses, B's, C's, D's, and F's. So I don't really, this is our department standard grade scale. That's why it's in there. We are allowed to adjust up if we would like, which is what I choose to do. So I adjust up from the A minus and the B minus directly to the B and the A range. So anyway, yeah, I won't adjust down, but all right. So how are you going to get graded? Uh, we're going to do a lab. We're going to do this next week as well. A lab quiz because I do want to discuss some wet lab features, some basics of lab because at some point, obviously, you're going to be on campus in lab, especially as you get into your vet tech stuff. But even if you do the dissections, there are some lab protocols that we need to follow. So next Friday, we're going to do a lab quiz together, and we're also going to look at the McGraw-Hill suite and some of the virtual labs that are in there. All right, and then so that's worth 10 points. And then at the very end of the semester, you're going to do a reflection, just basically a Google Sheet not a Google Sheet, a Google Doc or a Word doc. You're just going to type, like a double spaced, maybe one page, 200 word, 150 to 250 word reflection on your experience with the course. And just generally kind of how it was helpful and what you enjoyed and maybe what you would change and kind of moving forward, how it might help you in your career. So you'll do that. So this is lab quizzes at the beginning of the course, the reflections at the end of the course. Those total 65. We're also going to work on called the State of the Planet project. This is part of the ecology and environment section that we do at the very end because there is a biology, kind of a general biology component to this course. And so that's one of the checkoffs that we do is the State of the Planet project. The word project sometimes gets people's anxiety level going up in the wrong direction. That's you should not have any anxiety in this course. If you do, I am definitely here to help you. This course. I'm very laid back. I'm not gonna, you know, hammer you down for, due dates and bad behavior. Just no anxiety. The project that simply means you're going to be doing a 250 to 500 word uh, kind of a essay, uh, almost like a reflection on the state of the planet. And how do we look for the state of the planet? Well, I'll show you how we find that. The World Wildlife Federation, yeah, I'd say every 2 to 5 years, they'll put out a state of the planet report. So the most recent report card we have is from 2022. So toward the end of the semester, we're going to go through that report together. We're going to analyze where some of our strengths and weaknesses are as humans and as a planet, and what we can do as stewards of the planet to encourage a healthier uh, way of existing. So planet has got a lot of issues that in some ways were created and enabled by us. So thankfully, we are able to have through advances in technology and certainly through awareness, we're able to do a lot more to pick up some of the pieces. So we'll look at the state of the planet toward the end of the semester. It's definitely not meant to be any kind of gloom and doom, sky is falling, apocalypse talk. That's the opposite. It's really, we're just going to look at facts. So we're just going to look at peer-reviewed facts. We're not going to get into, what political agendas side might think and say to get votes versus what the other side thinks and says to get votes. Most of what you hear and see and read on the internet or if you overhear it at Casey's or Quick Trip or out at the pub or whatever, most of that stuff is completely baseless and it's really there to rile people up. When we actually dig into, which we're going to do this semester as well, we're going to look into how to vet sources. So you guys are vet techs, but I don't mean it like that. Vetting meaning verifying and validating the validity of the substance that's coming out of someone's mouth or that we read on a screen. So there are ways uh, to vet or validate or verify whether information is strictly opinion based or fact based from research and lots of time and energy. So anyway, and even some of that can be scrutinized, right? Because there are a lot of agendas that we'll see that fund some of the research with expectations of certain results in order to receive more funding. So there's also, it's not a slam dunk either that, just because it's a peer-reviewed article and was funded and was given a lot of time and money and energy that it's healthy or good either. So what a wild world we live in today. So that's really one of the aims of our course for the next 14 weeks is to just develop more of a sense of critical thinking and problem solving and discernment. So that's really what a scientist does. You're going to be working in a clinic with a lot of emotionally elevated patients and pets. So your need to be grounded, to be focused, and to have that objective eye is that's something you're going to work on if you haven't already been working on it during this course. So Again, you don't want to mirror a patient that's coming in and that's highly elevated. You want to be calm and you want to, you're gathering information for the veterinarian to collaborate with you on kind of an action plan for the pet. So anyway, so we want to work on that. Connect lab assignments. You're going to have 17 roughly of those. Some are, you're actually going to have more than that, but some of them are worth 15 points. But all told, you're going to have 17 groups of labs. I think it's like 25 or 26 or something, but regardless, the total points for those are going to be there. 5, 10. And then you're going to have 14 little unit quizzes. These are multiple choice for the most part. There might be some fill in the blanks. There might be some true false. There might be some identification questions. But for the most part, they're multiple choice. You pretty much have one of those every week. So between now and next Friday, you can certainly start looking at Unit 1 in the Unit 1 quiz. You can, but you don't have to because next Friday is when we're really going to start getting into the nuts and bolts of things. But anyhow, you feel free to start working ahead. Everything's available to you. But anyway, you're going to have 14 25 question quizzes. You can use your notes, you can use the internet, you can use phone a friend, email a friend, text a friend. You can use whatever resource you need to get the right answer because that's what we expect of you in the clinic. We need you to use whatever resource necessary to be as close to 100% correct as possible. And if that means consulting your tablet or your computer, if that means asking a colleague, asking of the vet, we need accuracy. We don't need guessing. We don't need I'm pretty sure. We need accuracy. And over time, with experience, you'll be more accurate without having to, you know, dig so deep sometimes. So for now, I want you to get used to digging deep and finding the answers. And so I know students hear the word quiz or exam and they think, oh gosh, I've got to memorize a bunch of stuff and I might not, and I'm totally freaking out about this. And what if? That is not the case. This is 2024. This isn't the draconian 1990s, you got to memorize this for me. And if you don't, you're a failure. And then you don't have to ever remember it for any future reference. No, 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 no. Everything you do in here is for applicability. I need you to know this information so you can use it in the clinic. I don't need you to know this information so you can get an A from me. I'm not a part of that. You get the points that you get based on the performance that you do, and you have every opportunity to perform at a peak level by having access to every single possible bit of information that you can get a hold of. So please try to score as high as you can get. Try to get 25 out of 25 every single time. And if it takes you 2 hours to get those correct answers, that's fine too. If you just want to quiz yourself and go through it and maybe you got 16 out of 25, well, that's fine too. You can take it unlimited times. Okay, so it keeps your highest score. Um, so again, when you go in to take those quizzes, go in with the idea that each question is its own entity, and I'm going to look at each question and I'm going to get to the bottom of it, put an answer in that makes sense and that applies, and move on. All right, same with the exams. You're gonna have 5 module exams. Those are the same deal. In fact, they're from question pools. You might see some of the same questions on exams as you do in quizzes. All right. The only Friday we don't have class is certainly the Friday after Thanksgiving. That's that big shopping day. Here are these dates I was mentioning earlier. You're past the 100% refund date. Hopefully you don't jump ship, but you can drop the course without any notation on your transcript. So up to the 20th of September. Now, if by the 16th of September, if you haven't done anything yet, have recorded no points, then you'll get dropped from the course. But like I say, next Friday, we're all going to be together and or not, but I'll be here and hopefully you will too. And then we're going to check off some assignments. We're going to do the lab quiz. We're going to do at least the first lab or two. And then we're also going to look at that first quiz. So we're going to look at some of the features of that. So you're going to have a whole bunch of points accumulated before the 16th, because next Friday is the 13th. Friday the 13th next week. Oh, all right. Maybe go see Beetlejuice next Friday the 13th. So anyway, um, now if you've done work, you're not going to get dropped. If you have done nothing up to the 16th, then they automatically remove you from the course. If for whatever reason I decide that you need to go, which doesn't happen, uh, then I can drop you within this period of time. I don't know why that is the way it is, but generally speaking, if you haven't done anything the first 2 weeks or so, that's when you get dropped. But that's all negative talk. We're not interested in that. Uh, you guys will all do just fine. Now, let's say something came up and by the way, because this is work at your own pace, everything is technically due on the last day of the course, which is December. It says the 29th. That's a misprint. So I don't know why you maybe noticed that. I don't know if you did. But in the system, it has us going to the day after Thanksgiving. That doesn't make any sense, does it? So, so anyway, we go until the 6th of December because we don't meet that Friday. So that would mean our course was only like 12 weeks long, and that's just not the case. So we actually, our last day, we probably won't meet on December 6th. Okay, so let me pull up the calendar. Yeah, I don't even know if you can see. Yeah, December 6th is actually the last day of the course. So we're not going to meet that day. Our last meeting will be November 22nd. So the week before Thanksgiving, that'll be our last Zoom meeting. And then at that time, if you haven't finished the course or if you haven't made it to like 1300 or whatever it is you want to make it to, you still have 2 weeks. So basically, from November 22nd, which is the last time we're going to meet, all the way 2 weeks later till December 6th, that's when you have to get everything completed. So like I say, don't drop the course, don't withdraw from the course. I am extremely flexible. You have until December 6th to get everything done, and that's plenty of time. Okay? But if you have to withdraw, that's the last day to withdraw, November 8th. Anyhow, so there you can see I have in our course calendar December 6th as kind of the last time. So these basically the last couple weeks, you're going to be looking at evolution, adaptation, some ecology. This is going to be some of that state of the planet stuff that you're going to be working on. And the last class, November 22nd, our last Zoom meeting, we're going to get a lot of that hashed out. So you may not even have that much to do those last 2 weeks. You could even start working on it now if you want. That's up to you. So anyway, that's all I have for the syllabus. Now, oh, there is a link. Uh, you can click out and get that. So if you want to just print that off, you can also access it that way. Right. Anyhow, let's see. Any questions up to this point? Yeah, time flies. It's already been like 45 minutes. So excellent. All right, cool. So we're back in Brightspace. Next week, we're going to look at this lab safety training. And again, if between now and next week, you want to check out this quiz, by all means, go for it. Okay, but next Friday, I'm going to do this PowerPoint It's short. I don't know, it's like 12, 15 slides, but we're only going to focus on a couple of the slides. And then we're also going to talk about dates of meeting in lab. So I will be sending out the Google form that's going to have basically it'll be a gauge of interest for dissection as well as a couple of potential dates. So please, when you receive that announcement email with a link, so I'll put a link in an announcement and I'll send that out probably later today. Um, and then please, between now and next Friday, uh, actually, really, as soon as you get an email that has, please fill this survey out, unless it's something you don't want to deal with. But this is something I want just open it up, click it, and then it's done. Okay. So don't be like, oh, I'll get to that later. It's because you won't, you'll probably forget. So as soon as you get that email announcement from me that's got a link to a Google form, just click it, open it up, and it'll be like two questions, maybe at the most. Click them, submit it, and then that's good. So that I can have that data, and then I can figure out and talk to the powers that be in the vet tech program about ensuring that those dates and times and that I'll have the materials that I need. So I have to talk to the lab technician as well. So anyway, that's really all you're going to need to do. And then next Friday, we'll talk about that'll be the first thing we talk about, the results of that, and we'll put some firm dates in as to when we're going to do the dissections. And then we're going to talk about lab safety, and then you're going to do the lab safety quiz. So that'll be the first thing we do next week. And the second thing we're going to do is go through McGraw-Hill, uh, the basics of the McGraw-Hill Connect course and kind of how those labs work, and we'll do at least one or two of them together and move on from there. So that's the goal for next week. And then at the end, once we get through all of that, then we'll start looking at a little more detail with the modules. So let's see. Modules. If you click modules, you have modules 1 through 5. Module 1's where we're going to start. Now, for Unit 1, there's an outline there. This goes with the textbook that you have. So we really start out with Unit 1, Chapter 1, the intro to anatomy and physiology. So these are, in essence, kind of your lecture notes for Chapter 1. And again, you can print these off. This is edit or a read only. So if you want your own copy of this, you simply come over to File and you can hit either make a copy and then you'll get your own version of it that you can edit, or you can go to download and you can download it as a Microsoft Word doc. So we can download as any of these for that matter. Rich text format you can type into as well. Some of you may have a PDF that's writable. You can download. But anyway, you can, if you've never used, I hope you've used Google Docs, but if you haven't, this is a semester to start getting into using Google Docs and maybe transitioning away from Microsoft Word a little bit. But regardless, if you're used to the Microsoft suite, Google Docs is not a heck of a lot different than that. So anyway, you can make your own copy or you can download a copy. Then that way you can type right into it. You can highlight, you can take notes. You can add to some of this as well. So that's the outline. And then I also have slides. And these slides go with that outline. So next week, I'm going to discuss. So after we get through the lab stuff, I will go through and discuss a few of these items as well. Okay. So, but again, feel free to, you can certainly look through this yourself over the next week or so. But I'm going to be talking about all of this next week too. So So basically, probably the first half hour or so, we'll get through the lab stuff, and then maybe 45 minutes, and then the next 45 minutes or so, I'll talk about this type. We'll get into some of the nuts and bolts. All right, let's see. And then, okay. And then there's the Unit 1 quiz. And again, these will be from your textbook. So you click that, and then you can hit Start Quiz. You know, it might have like 120-minute time limit, like built in. I'm not 100% sure. That's 2 hours. I don't know if it'll take you. I don't think it'll take you 2 hours or 25 questions, but if it does, that's okay. Because remember, I want you to dig deep. Once you get to that 120-minute time limit mark, it may ask if you want to continue. And then, of course, you'd hit yes. So there's no penalty for going over the limit if, in fact, there is one. I tried to make it so there was no time limit. But again, Brightspace is new to me as well. So some of the clickings and stuff may be a little off. The other thing, I have due dates on everything. These are simply checkoffs or checkpoints. This is work at your own pace. So the due dates, I can't label them checkpoint date. So due date just sounds so intense, and that's fine. But just know that you can go past the due date. You may get pinged by Brightspace saying you're past due on this exam or this quiz. Well, that's fine. There is no past due. Remember, there's only one due date, and that's December 6th. You need to have everything done by December 6th. But you don't want to wait to do things. These dates that I have in here are really to kind of keep you on track. So anyway, keep that in mind. If you don't take the quiz by September 15th, don't worry. You can take it after that date without any penalty. All right, so if I hit start quiz, this is what happens. You're going to be given all of the questions at once. As you can see, they're multiple choice. And they're all from chapter 1. Many of you will be able, maybe all of you, may get this done by next week. But remember, we're going to talk about all of this stuff in class. So you can, oh, and because you can take these unlimited times, you could potentially just take it once, just off of kind of the baseline information that you have, just to see what it's like. Use your book, use your notes, use whatever. Just take it, see what you get. Maybe you'll get a 22 out of 25 right away. That's good. Then move on, right? Maybe, just go in right now and take it. Maybe you get a 5 out of 25. That's okay. You just, at least now you know what you need to dig deeper with. So anyway, this is your experience. You can do it however you want. Just know you can do it unlimited times. Bone. Well, bone doesn't sound like muscle tissue. Epithelium is a covering. So we think of like the epidermis. Epithelium is also a lining. So that doesn't really make sense. Nervous tissue, it sounds like nerves. So that doesn't make sense. So you're kind of left with this. And connective tissue is cells that are inside of a matrix. So bone cells are inside of a bony matrix. So bone is considered connective tissue. Believe it or not, blood is also a connective tissue. Cells in a matrix. The matrix is plasma. And the cells are like red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. So anyhow, that's that. It's how that's going to roll. I'm going to back out of there. So you're going to have 14 of these quizzes. Are all 25 question, multiple choice. Again, you can work at your own pace. You can start getting to it right now if you want. All right, Unit 2, I go a little bit deeper into it's actually four chapters. So we get into cells, tissues, and our first body system, which is the skin. Still only 25 questions. Okay, so I just get into the basics of this stuff. I don't get that in depth. All right, and then unit 3 gets into skeletal and muscular. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing week 3. Okay, and then let me go back up into the modules section because at the end of the module, you have an exam. 100 multiple choice questions from the test bank. You already did 75 questions, right? You did 25 unit 1 quiz, 25 unit 2 quiz, 25 unit 3 quiz. So there's 75 questions you've already done. So you might see some of those again because those are from a pool and they're all from the same pool. So you have 100 multiple choice questions and yeah, it's the same kind of setup and same format as we just saw. Okay. So that's how every module works. Module 5 is a little bulkier because I added, starting in module, I don't think module 4 is that. Let me make sure. Oh, yeah, I do have a couple things. Generally, so it looks like it starts in unit 12. Actually, yeah, unit 12. So units 12 through 15, we use OpenStax, biology second edition. So, um, so the first 11 units, we're using that textbook that you have. But remember, we have to do a little biology at the end. So the little bit of biology at the end on evolution and adaptation and ecology and the environment and um, I think there's some reproductive stuff, maybe meiosis, or meiosis, some say. That stuff's going to come from the OpenStax biology text. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but you can access that information directly from these slides. That's why these are a little bulkier. But I do want to show you the last item, Module 5 exam. There it is. So the Living Planet report assignment is in here as well. And this is, again, we'll look at this, before Thanksgiving, but there's a little video there. So you watch that video, or you can, and then we're going to read through the Living Planet report. We'll look at, I don't know if we'll do a Padlet, we might, but the main feature is you're going to create like basically a 1 to 2 page kind of a reflection or a thoughts or an ideas on what you have to say about the state of the planet. So that's 75 points. That's toward the end of the semester. And then, of course, the exam. And that's it. There's no final exam. There's no midterm exam or anything like that. I guess the final exam in some way would be this final reflection. So, 1 page reflection in a Word doc, or, it could be a Google Doc. It says 54 because I think I made the quiz worth 11 because it's 11 questions. I think in the syllabus it said 10 and 55, but I think put an extra question in the quiz, so I think it's 11 and 54. But either way, it's 65 combined points. So that's why it's a weird number. Wet lab PowerPoint. So when we do wet labs, I don't think we're not going to dissect rabbits, but we are going to do. But I do have those in there if you want to look at different muscles. But when we do get together, or if we do, I'm sure at least a handful of you will want to. We'll dissect sheep brains, cow eyes. We might do some blood typing. I think I do that with McGraw-Hill, so I don't think we're going to do this in person because we can do this virtually. And then we do pig heart. So we do sheep brain, cow eye, pig heart. And then I also have sheep GI tract, sheep lungs, and I think probably pig or cow kidneys. I'm not sure what animal the kidneys are. So anyhow, let's see. Oh, and then here's the link directly to the McGraw-Hill labs. So next week, like I say, we'll look at lab one. We'll do this one together. Maybe you do both of these together. And then week two, we'll look at these diffusion and osmosis. But these don't take very long. They take anywhere from, I'd say, 10 minutes to 20 minutes at the most. Okay? Some less. I think some of these might take you like 5 to 10 minutes. So they're not super intense. And the other thing about these labs is you can't move on to the next step until you've done what it tells you to do. So it's almost foolproof to get, 100%. Like I mean, you're going to get 100% as long as you get to the end. And it basically tells you and guides you on how to do that. All right, I'm just about done. It's Friday. We've been here together an hour, and it's time for you to enjoy the weather, I think. Let's see. Oh, and again, you can access if you access the McGraw-Hill labs once you have Connect, if you access them from Brightspace, even just once, so like if I click this and it takes me over to the lab to do it, um, your Brightspace and McGraw-Hills will be linked for the whole semester. So you can get to all of the labs just through McGraw-Hill if you want at that point. You don't have to, but I'll show you all that next week. But otherwise, if you exclusively do all the McGraw-Hill labs in McGraw-Hill and you never access them from Brightspace, it won't link the grade book. So you have to at least one time get to McGraw-Hill from Brightspace. Then it'll mesh the grade books. So it's not a big deal if you never do that. I mean, I can enter them manually, but still, you like to see when you complete the lab, you like to see the grade automatically go into your Brightspace grade book. In order to do that, you have to access at least one time, just one lab from Brightspace to McGraw-Hill. That's why I put the links in there. Anyhow, um, so questions, comments, concerns about anything? Again, I recorded this, so I'm gonna stop the recording now, and then I'll upload that